This is our story.
Hi, I'm Roseanne, and last year I received a living donor kidney transplant from one of my closest friends. I work at Konica Minolta. I'm in sales. I sell IT to the federal government. When I was in my early 30s, I was diagnosed with kidney failure, which was quite a shock. It was just from normal lab work, from a physical at the doctor, and they noticed that my protein levels were high, and they tested some more and said, you have kidney problems. So we talked all about what to do or what might be causing it. We knew what didn't cause it. We knew it wasn't lupus, it wasn't polycystic disease, it wasn't high blood pressure, diabetes, and so we came to the conclusion that I had had a lot of tonsillitis when I was a child, and as a result, that sometimes goes into your kidneys and actually damages them as strep. So they call that streptococcal nephritis. So that was how we ended up knowing pretty much what I had. I had damaged kidneys that weren't actually caused by an actual disease per se. So I was a little surprised to hear that, of course, because I had no idea, and there's no symptoms, by the way. If you have early kidney failure or anything like that, I mean, you really don't know. You don't feel a thing. And so that sent me off into a world of just lab work. That's all I did. I just saw a kidney specialist and I did lab work. And I was one of the lucky ones in that I stayed stable for a really long time, ticking down very, very, very slowly. In the end, I had to change my diet and had some bouts with gout. But for literally decades, everything was good. I was feeling great. I worked full time, never lost any time, never felt bad. So I was very fortunate in that respect. So when I guess we have to jump all the way up to when I was in my 50s, the numbers started going down pretty dramatically, and I did a lot of research, which is really important. You have to be your own advocate in this thing. I knew that once I really got to a point where my GFR was about 20 or below, that I was eligible to go to a transplant center and get tested to be on the transplant list. So in about 2018, I got on the transplant list. I was 17 GFR, and I still felt fine, very fortunate, and I got on the transplant list right away. And during that time, I had two goals: to never be on dialysis and to find a living donor because it's quicker. And so that was all I was about. So I started in 2018 when I got on the transplant list, and I was on the transplant list for 4 years. And I ended up just mentioning it, telling my story to everybody that I saw pretty much. You know, people my age always talk about their medical stuff anyway, so I would segue that in. And everybody was really open to talking about it. I had a number for people to call for a coordinator at the transplant center, and about 40 people, amazingly, took that number. I never asked them to donate. I just told my story. And I never asked them afterwards what the result was or if they ever called, because it was my business at that point in time. So everything was fine. 2018, on we go, and we get to about the end of 2021. And my GFR was down to 10, and I was getting in a serious kind of area where I still didn't feel bad, but I knew that the time was coming when I'd be hooked to a machine. And so I had business cards, I had rosieneedsaKidney@gmail.com, I was sending it out publicly on everything I possibly could find, and talking to all my friends, asking people to share my posts, the whole 9 yards. And then I was getting signs for my car. I was gonna go and see if I could get a billboard in downtown Baltimore set up, or talk to the TV station about doing a public interest thing and something in the paper, anything I could find that would promote my need. And then my friend Stefanie came along, and several of my friends had tested and for whatever reason not been able to go forward with it. But Stefanie was like, yep, I want to do this for you. And she moved forward, and together we had the surgery, and it was a fabulous gift, and here we are. Doing great. One of the more significant events I got involved in while I was, watching my kidneys go along as they did was the Big Ask, Big Give held by the National Kidney Foundation of Maryland and Delaware. They're wonderful people. They had surgeons there that were talking about surgery and how it goes and what they do. They had people there that had been living donors for one another and how it went and how they felt. And it really gave me a terrific sense of comfort that this upcoming thing that I couldn't avoid was going to changed my life in an absolutely positive way, and it really cemented my commitment to finding a living donor instead of just sitting and waiting on the transplant list. They also made signs which were kind of interesting, a big sign that you could write your name on that said, "I need a kidney," and you put your number on it of your coordinator and your name and the whole works. And I thought that was really helpful. It was one of the first things that I posted on Facebook publicly, was that need. So that worked out terrifically. That was a really great event for me. As far as the transplant was concerned, everything went totally according to plan. I went there and it happened. You blink your eye. They said I was the greatest patient because I woke up with a big smile on my face. And so they cared for me wonderfully. I had it done at Johns Hopkins, by the way. And I got out of there in maybe like 5 days or so. They had a little trouble with my pain level that I wanted them to adjust. And afterwards, I went to my friend's house. She picked me up and took me to her house, and everything just went along fine. She made me some meals, and I was pretty much perfect from there on out. And my donor came and visited me, brought friends to visit me. Actually it was a really kind of neat time, but they said I could be off like 8 weeks or 12 weeks, but I did so well that I had the surgery the end of May and the third week of July, I think, maybe. Second week of July, right after 4th of July, I got off of my company disability and just went back full time. And so I started driving after maybe 3 weeks, something like that, and just sort of went back to a normal life. And one of the positives is I can feel that I'm much healthier, even though I never actually suffered or was on dialysis. I can feel I'm stronger, feel I'm healthier. One of the great things is your diet isn't as limited. I can eat a whole hamburger if I want, instead of parsing it into little pieces and eating 3 meals off of it. Because I always had to watch the protein and the potassium. I can eat bananas, so all in all, it's been a really great experience, and I'm looking forward to a fabulous and long and healthy future.
I'm Stefanie. I work at NASA's Goddard Space Flight Center, and I've known Roseanne for about 10 years, and I last year got to become her living donor for her kidney. And this is my story. I met Roseanne and her late husband at one of our local hangouts about 10 years ago, as I said, and they became my local family. I'm originally from Texas, and I don't get to see my family very often, and they're all there. So Roseanne and her husband sort of became my family here in Maryland. Everything from holidays to mini vacations, all kinds of fun adventures, and of course, many fun evenings. And they were always very welcoming to me and accepting of me, and just sort of naturally part of my life. And Roseanne came to me a number of years ago expressing that she was in need of a kidney. And at the time, I had no idea what that really meant. I had no idea what was involved. I wasn't at a very healthy phase of my own life, but I told her I would do everything I possibly could to help her find a living donor. So every time she posted something on Facebook or was doing another big call out or shout out for asking for help, I was right there, forwarding her messages to friends, to my colleagues, anybody that I had connections with, and trying to get that message out. When she got to a critical phase, sort of late 2021, I believe it was, we were having a girls' night. It was Roseanne and I and a couple of our close friends were out for dinner. And she had leaned over and was really quite concerned. And I could tell that she was getting a little nervous and worried about this. And at the time, I had kind of been going through my own sort of journey of getting healthier. The pandemic allowed a lot of time for me to actually focus on my own health. I lost a lot of weight, started running and exercising routinely. And I was starting to feel a lot healthier in general, just day-to-day life and activity, and a lot more comfortable in my skin. And, when she was telling me that she was going through this, sort of desperate need now, it made me really take a step back and think about, how can I really help? And I asked her, I was like, what does it mean to be a living donor? And she's like, all I can do is give you this phone number. So she gives me the phone number of her coordinator, and the people that did the coordination were absolutely a delight. They were such a pleasant group of individuals to work with, and they answered every question, and they had every detail, down to even being a federal employee and being able to request time off. So there were all kinds of answers that were provided to me immediately. And they were very receptive. Anytime you have a question, send an email, call me. Whatever it is, we're here, we're ready to help you make this decision and walk you through the process. And so I was like, okay, well, how do we get started? And it starts with a blood test. And so I go down and I, give half of the blood in my body, it felt like, to the hospital. And it was funny because the coordinator, forewarned me. She's like, when we go through this process, you're going to find out things about yourself that you probably really don't want to know. And, we're going to find out if you're actually healthy enough to do this. And that made me a little intimidated because there's things that I really don't want to know about myself. And as I had gone through my own sort of health journey, I knew that there were things that I probably still needed to work on and fix. But everything came back perfect. And it blew me away. I was like, really? Did you check this? Did you check that? And they were confident. They said, everything looks great. And so then you go to the next step, and it's imaging and all these other processes and tests that you have to go through just to make sure that, one, you are healthy enough to lose your kidney, and then two, that you really want to do this. And, the decision came across every single time I talked to the coordinator. Are you sure that you still want to move forward? Are you still confident in doing this? And are you confident in donating to your friend? And they're like, it doesn't even have to be a commitment to Roseanne at this time. We just want to make sure that you can be a donor first. And then you're on the potential donor list. It doesn't have to be to that individual. It can be to any person that you decide at that point. And, I have a big family. I have lots of siblings, lots of nieces and nephews. My dad's not necessarily a healthy person. And so, lots of questions came across my mind about whether or not donating to a friend now versus waiting and donating to a potential family member that might be in need down the road. Who knows where I'll be? Am I going to be healthy in 5 years and capable of donating at that time? When Roseanne first went on the living donor list, I was not healthy enough to donate at that time. And I don't know that I would have been approved. I'm confident I wouldn't have been approved to donate at that time. I was not in a physical state that I could have. And I don't know that it's fortunate, but my own journey and my health actually enabled me to be capable of donating for Roseanne. So I made the decision, and I said, who knows where life is going to take me? Maybe something happens and I'm no longer able to exercise, or something happens with my diet or whatever. And now's the time, and I'm healthy enough to do it, and she needs it. And why shouldn't I? Why wouldn't I do this for a friend, a family member. So moved forward on, what was it, St. Patrick's Day. I found out that I was approved to become a living donor, and they also told me that I was approved to be a donor for Roseanne. So that was a very memorable St. Patrick's Day. Well, it started out memorable. And of course we celebrated. It was an extreme moment of success on both of our halves, just to know that we could actually move forward, and she was on the next phase of her journey to become healthy. I have a huge barbecue every year on Memorial Day weekend. And the one day that we can actually make our schedules work together with my work, with her work, and just everything in general was Memorial Day weekend for the surgery. So I had to cancel this massive barbecue. All of my friends were extremely upset until they found out the reason why. But it's kind of even more fun now. Now we get a momentous occasion to celebrate for the barbecue and have our anniversary over that weekend. So I was in the hospital even up to the day of surgery. When we checked in, they still asked me if I still wanted to be a donor, and I still wanted to go through with the procedure. And I mean, they were putting an IV in my hand and asking me this, and I was like, I'm in a gown at this hospital at some ungodly hour of the morning in the middle of Baltimore. Of course I'm going to do this. But they wanted to be sure, and they gave you every opportunity to make that decision over and over and over again, which was really appreciated. So surgery went fine. I woke up. I felt a huge void in my stomach. It was weird. It was like you could feel the hole where an organ once was. And every time you moved, you felt all the air and everything move around, and all your other guts were moving around, and that was a very awkward thing. And I was anxiously awaiting to hear about Roseanne's status. And her surgery took quite a while, and all of a sudden I got a text. It was, 11 p.m. And she's like, "I'm out and I feel amazing." And I was like, okay, she just got out of surgery and she just texted me this. This is ridiculous. I feel like crap and I have this, whatever floating organs now, and she's feeling amazing. And sure enough, the next morning she comes walking into my room. She has her, her IV trekking along with her, and she's scooting along with her, hospital socks and her double robes. And she's like, "I feel great. What are you doing in bed?" And I was blown away. You could see the life in her, and it was gratifying.
Yeah.
So this is, I'm just sitting here with goosebumps. You did great. You did great.
Yeah, it was great. She turned to me, when was it, the next morning, and said, "I'm out of here." I was like, "What?"
So my recovery went very quickly. I was out of the hospital within 2 days and home. I was encouraged to walk. Was walking a block the first day to a mile within a week. It went very, very quickly. Driving was a little uncomfortable, mostly just from turning to try to look, for other cars. But within a month, I'd say I was fully back. I was working, even checking my email from the hospital. So definitely functional, and no issues whatsoever with recovery. I was very confident, and I had ample time to take off if I needed to. Work as a federal employee, they offered for me to have extended leave, medical leave, which is a different type of leave than actual regular medical leave. They have donor leave, which is fantastic, and everybody at work was extremely supportive and encouraging. Even though I didn't want to take the time off, they supported it, and they were ready to do so. Maryland also has enacted the Living Donor Act. So we are protected now for insurance in the future if you donate. So it's a fantastic thing to do, and knowing that you have the support and you're able to move forward with your life and not worry about future health concerns or any side effects whatsoever, knowing that you're going to be protected and constantly taken care of is a huge and tremendous asset. So hopefully this goes across on a federal level, and this is something that should happen for everybody. You have a spare, you should definitely consider giving it up.